Good evening, everyone. My name is Mariah Berry, and today I'm going to be talking about an important topic in feminist discourse, one that challenges the way feminism has traditionally been framed. In my author Ian Ang, her essays, I'm a Feminist, but Other Women and Postnatal Feminism, critiques the Western-centric perspective in feminism. She argues that feminism must move beyond universalistic ideals and instead embrace diversity of women's experiences across different cultures, nationalities, and identities. This is not just an abstract debate. It's a pressing issue that affects how we understand gender equality worldwide. If feminism claims to be an advocate for all women, then it must listen to the voices of those who have historically been marginalized in the movement. Ang's central argument is that Western feminism often assumes a singular feminist experience, one that does not always reflect the realities of women from different cultures and national backgrounds. She calls for post-national feminism, one that recognizes differences rather than imposing Western ideals onto all women. She makes several key points to support this argument. 1. The critique of universalism. 2. Intersectionality and identity. 3. Challenges of representation. And 4. The need for dialogue. And I will be going over each one of those. For the critique of universalism, the Western feminism often claims to speak for all women, but tends to overlook cultural and national differences. For example, issues that are prioritized in Western feminism, like workplace equality, may not be as urgent in societies where women face more fundamental struggles, such as access to education or protection from gender-based violence. My next one is intersectionality and identity. Women's identities are shaped not only by gender, but also by race, nationality, and socio-political conditions. This means that a single monolithic version of feminism is insufficient to address the diverse ways oppression manifests. Challenges of representation. Other women, those from non-Western backgrounds, are often spoken for rather than given the space to speak for themselves. This creates a power imbalance within the feminist movement. The need for dialogue. Instead of imposing solutions, feminism should be about listening. Ang calls for a dialogue-based approach where diverse voices are engaged in meaningful conversations rather being dismissed or silenced. The article argues for, like I said, postnatal feminism that acknowledges differences rather than imposing just Western feminist ideas. It also explores how the feminist movement should just recognize the lived experiences of all women rather than just specific women. Next, we'll be talking about her supporting arguments. Her supporting arguments are, oh, never mind. How to talk about all that? So we will now be going into understanding and application. So what I used was our two influential speakers that we have used in our past readings, Paulo Freire and Maya Angelou. I think their name is Freire. Freire, in Pedagogy of the Oppressed, critiques the traditional education systems for being tools of oppression, writing that, in quotes, education as the exercise of domination stimulates the credulity of students without the ideological intent to indoctrinate them to adapt to the world of oppression. Freire, 1971, page 78. This idea idea parallels to Eng's argument. Just as oppressive education systems shape knowledge in ways that maintain inequality, a Western dominated feminism risks reinforcing global powers and balancing rather than dismantling them. And then similarly, Maya Angelou's poem, And I Still Rise, embodies the resilience and self-empowerment that Aang calls for in feminism. Angelou writes, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. Angelou, 1978, page 3. This powerful statement echoes Aang's call for marginalized women to assert their own voices, rather than having their struggles dictated by external narratives. By drawing these conclusions, we can see how Aang's argument fits within a larger tradition of resisting oppression, whether in education, literature, or feminism. Some of the key terms that I found were postnatal feminism, which means a feminist perspective that transcends national and cultural boundaries to embrace diversity in women's experiences. Othering, the process of marginalizing or defining certain groups as different and inferior. Intersectionality, the interconnected nature of social categories such as race, gender, and class, such in shaping experiences of oppression. And then our last one is cultural imperialism, the imposition of one culture's beliefs and values onto another, often in feminist discourse. Aang's work raises some of these important questions. How can feminist activism be restructured to include diverse perspectives while avoiding cultural imperialism? How do media and literature shape the way we perceive other women in feminist discourse? What practical steps can we take to ensure that feminism is truly global and inclusive? This challenge before us is clear. If we want feminism to be a force for true liberation, it cannot be a one-size-fits-all. It must be adaptable, inclusive, and open to different spaces. The future of feminism depends on our ability to listen, learn, and create movement that reflects the realities of all women, not just those with the loudest voices. My analysis was, Aang's discussion of postnatal feminism raises the important questions about inclusivity in feminist movements. Western feminism often assumes a universal experience, but Aang challenges this by emphasizing intersectionality. This leads to questions about feminist activism that can be restructured to include diverse perspectives while avoiding cultural imperialism. Additionally, it is crucial to examine how media and literature shape the representation of other women, either reinforcing or dismantling stereotypes. Finally, if feminism is to be truly global, what practical steps can be taken to ensure that all voices are heard and valued? My references were Aang, 1995, I'm a Feminist, but Other Women and Post-National Feminism, in Feminist Dilemmas in Qualitative Research, pages 190 to 206. Ferrer, 1971, Pedagogy of the Oppressed, M.B. Ramos Trans, and then Maya Angelou, 1978, and Still I Rise, Random House. I hope you were able to realize that feminism is not just for us, it is for everyone. Thank you for listening to my infographic about feminism and post-nationalism in not only Western media, but everywhere.